Aún recuerdo el camino a casa. Apúrate que ahí viene la burra. Tía, ¿me compra un cono? Le pregunté a mi tía. Ándale pues, apúrale. Eran los tiempos de Luis Echeverría y en ese tiempo Tijuana no estaba desarrollada como lo está hoy. ¿Le puedo llevar otro a mi mamá? A mi edad de 4 años me sentía incómodo aceptar algo tan rico que no fuera a compartir con mi mamá. No, Luis, solo llévate el tuyo. Luis es mi primer nombre. I really wanted my mom to have some cono, so I decided to save mine for her. At first, I pretended to eat it, but I really wasn't. I just didn't want my aunt to notice that I was trying to save it for my mom. This was the middle of the afternoon, so it was extremely hot, y la tierra y el polvo se metían por las ventanas de la burra. The ice cream started melting in my hands, and I soon found myself having to lick and take tiny bites of my cono so it would stop dripping, but making sure I wouldn't finish it. When we finally made it home, my mom opened the door, and with a huge smile, I handed the remaining bottom portion of my cono to her. A bit soggy, a bit dusty, pero con mucho amor. Le traje un cono, mamá. Her smile and the sparkle in her eyes meant the world to me. She just said, "Ay, mijo," as she took her bite. I share with you this story because when I think about honoring legacy, when I think about what I've learned over my lifetime, and when I think about what I can pass on to others, the bottom line is that connection with the people we love. I first came to the United States when I was in first grade, not really understanding what the teacher wanted. I always resorted to writing or rewriting everything I could get my hands on. I would then try to read it to my little brother and sister. At one point, we lived in Little Trailita on Cypress Road in Oxnard. I remember the refrigerator didn't work, the stove didn't work, and the dinner table converted into my parents' bed at night. On many occasions, I saw my mom cry as she stayed up all night, changing the buckets that filled with rain water leaking through the roof. My father worked in La Pizca de la Fresa. I went with him sometimes because era por contrato. And the more boxes of strawberries he filled, the more money he would get. The real reason I would go, though, was because I wanted to have first dibs at the delicious burritos de frijoles con chile de bistec que mi mamá le ponía en el termo. They were so good. Tortillas de harina hechas a mano, just perfect. I continue to struggle with the language. I once gave an ornament that said, "To the world's greatest mother, to my father." But I paid attention. I had the added pressure and responsibility to have to translate for my parents at the swap meet at Pick 'em Save, just because they said I was the one in school. Ándale, dile al güero que cuánto cuestan las herramientas. Pues ¿cómo le digo si yo ni sé? I turned purple, then blue, then I turned yellow, then green. Tú nomás dile camache. After I finished turning the colors of the rainbow, I walked up to the guy and said, with some hesitation, camache. The adults always talked about La Migra and how some of the men in the field had been caught, echados pa' fuera. I was afraid because I knew they also went into the trailer parks where we lived, and later into the government projects in the La Colonia area of Oxnard, looking for mojados like me. To me, that life was normal. That was all that I knew. That was what El Otro Lado was all about. But at least in Tijuana, I had big dreams. At the age of 4 and 5, I dreamed about becoming a paletero when I grew up. I ruled out the elotero y el de los globos quickly. The ice cream just seemed the happiest. And he had access to so much ice cream. My parents sent me back to Mexico. Primero al rancho, después al DF, y luego de nuevo a Tijuana. Era cosa de los papeles. This made it even more difficult for me to learn to speak English. When I came back to the United States, there was no more room for me in the bilingual program. I was placed in a regular 5th grade class. Kids from the Colonia, the area where I live, were bused to a current elementary school on the north side. Rich kids with nice lunch boxes and fancy lunches were in my class. I didn't bring my lunch, but when I did, the giant paper bag from the grocery store never looked as cool. I tried attaching some Star Wars stickers, but my large brown paper bag still stood out. I remember I hated the sloppy Joe and the chili con carne they served at the cafeteria with the sweet beans. What were they thinking, I thought? Major culture shock for me. Despite many obstacles and the difficulties I encountered learning English, I was named Student of the Year in 6th grade. And I was also named Student of the Year in the 8th grade at Fremont Junior High School. In the summer of 1987, I participated in Latino Future Leaders of America. We camped at Camp Cielo, and this was the first time I learned about the possibility of going to college. I learned about the various university systems and the fact that requirements existed to even apply to such colleges. That same year, my father left the family. He was an alcoholic and rather violent with my mother. I believe it was a relief that he had left, but his departure also left us financially and emotionally broken. To this day, I believe that the leadership skills I received at FLA helped me cope and helped me refocus. It helped me to develop goals and vision. My mother had become a single mom, and I felt a major responsibility to stand tall next to her. This continued to fuel fire inside my core, to always give it my best. The connection to the people I loved, my mom and mis hermanos, made me determined. I wanted to help my mother, so I asked for more hours at work, and I wanted to excel in my college required courses because I was determined to help my family out of poverty. I transformed during my high school years. I began to recognize that alcoholism and domestic violence were not the norm. However, one area I neglected was to deal with my sexuality. I just didn't know. I didn't know how. I was ashamed to be gay, and I repressed my emotions, simply hoping that if I prayed enough, one day I would magically turn straight. That never happened. But one day, I began to embrace, celebrate, and be thankful for the fact that I was gay. In the spring of 1990, I received letters of acceptance from UC Santa Barbara, UCLA, and UC Berkeley. Everyone congratulated my accomplishments. Everyone but my school counselor. He recommended that I decline my offers and to go to a community college. You have a single mother, your father recently left, and she's going to need you. You will fail at Berkeley. Top scores, top grades, and he still thought I would fail. I don't think he knew about resilience. I don't think he knew about that fire in the core, and I don't think he understood the connection we have with the people we love. Needless to say, I was floored by his response. Why would he discourage me in this manner? I had tried so hard to meet the college entrance requirements and exceed academically to have an opportunity. Why then would he keep me from attending any of those prestigious universities? Vete, my mom said. No le hagas caso, está loco tu consejero. Yo aquí a ver cómo le hago, cómo me las arreglo. By this time, right before graduation, I was notified that the International Rotary Club and the Mexican American Chamber of Commerce had selected me as Student of the Year district-wide, both with cash stipends. In total, I collected nearly $4,000 in cash scholarships, most of which served to catch up on rent. Although I had already accepted the offer from UC Berkeley, I really wanted to visit the campus. I wanted to walk through the campus and interact with people. I wanted to make sure there was a connection. My mom said she would take me. The car we had broke down at every stoplight, but she had told me she had fixed it. Pero ya lo arreglé. Ya me dijeron que va a estar bien. Vamos. We were on our way back, flying into a ride to the award ceremony for the Mexican American Chamber of Commerce, but our car broke down on the 99 freeway. Frustrated, my mom began to cry. I told her everything would be okay and explained that this didn't change the fact that her son, due to her support, her love, her walking me from house to house, late night at night to find someone to help me understand calculus or physics homework, was what led to my acceptance to those prestigious schools and to have received such distinct recognitions. I graduated from UC Berkeley in 1995. I had the honor of being the Raza graduation speaker, and in 2000 I received my master's degree from the Lyndon B. Johnson School of Public Affairs at the University of Texas at Austin. Despite the many struggles and challenges, I had achieved many of my goals. I had graduated and secured employment with the Los Angeles City Council Office of the Chief Legislative Analyst. I was finally a professional. 2 weeks after graduation and 2 days before my new job, I lost my mom in a car accident. I was devastated, I was shattered, I was broken, I was in disbelief. How could life be so cruel? Nothing was worth it, I thought. I was angry. I was devastated. I could never find the right place to grieve. As broken as it was, I realized that being connected to the people we love, the fire going deep down in our core, and that fire, that connection, turned into strength. One leg at a time, one arm at a time, and with the amazing memories of love and perseverance of my mom, I slowly began to lift myself up. However, to fill the emptiness, to try to fill the major void in me, I began to dance. I joined Ballet Folklórico del Pacífico in Los Angeles, and I began to teach ESL in the evenings. In 2006, to assist my ESL students with employment training and training opportunities, I created Tacos Valladolid. Through this program, I obtained contracts with agencies and individuals, and my students would cook. We were featured in Noticias de las 6 in Univisión with a segment titled Tacos Sabor a Sueño, due to the objective of providing job training to undocumented youth. We were also featured in Héroes de Impacto, a program of Primer Impacto where Univision recognized efforts and achievements of Latinos in the USA. So what do I do today? I now serve as Senior Advisor to the Los Angeles City Council. I work for a nonpartisan office called the Office of the Chief Legislative Analyst that provides analyses and advice and recommendations to the Los Angeles City Council, which is made up of 15 members. I started in the area of public safety where I reviewed and made recommendations relative to the police and fire department budgets, and during my tenure, I've covered issues ranging from business tax policy, economic development, workforce development, youth programs, and gang violence. My tasks consist of conducting research, coordinating meetings, seeking expert advice, negotiating and analyzing community impacts by engaging the community, writing reports, and making oral presentations before the City Council. I currently staff a critical committee called the Immigrant Affairs, Civil Rights, and Equity Committee of the Los Angeles City Council. I am the lead advisor for our office on the issues related to immigration and civil rights. Some of my major projects include development of a street vending program, reporting on sanctuary cities, responding and advising on actions of the Trump administration. I also analyze state legislation with respect to immigration and law enforcement. With this in mind, I work closely with top LAPD officials and immigration advocates to ensure that the City of Los Angeles is in compliance with state law with respect to any involvement with federal immigration enforcement agencies. What does that mean? For my particular job, I am required to be neutral and to remove my personal beliefs from the policy-making process. I am required to assist all 15 council members equally, regardless of their political affiliations, even if in some cases I personally disagree. I have been challenged by agencies outside the city with respect to the quality of my work, and I've been challenged on whether I can be nonpartisan. One particular agency made the argument that I was taking sides on a particular issue, the issue being street vending. A Freedom of Information Act was filed, and I was required to hand over all my notes and emails in relation to street vending. No collusion with the vending advocates was ever found. I'm just glad they didn't know that as a little boy, mi sueño era de ser paletero. I take pride in my work, and I am passionate about the work that I do. I don't believe I should be held to a different standard and have to prove that I can be objective. Sometimes we just have to fight the fire deep in the core, remember the connections with the people we love, and power through. We are all Latinos as immigrants. We are all as Latinos as immigrants, as part of the LGBT community, and along with our Black brothers and sisters and other minority groups and people of color, our children. We are all under attack by not just the Trump administration, but by every one of his supporters. Everyone who thinks like him. Sometimes we have to get into uncomfortable situations to show resistance. As a Berkeley student, I marched and protested. I was a community organizer. I protested against Prop 187 and many other causes. And that is one of the strongest tools, in my opinion, to create change and combat discrimination and hate crimes against our people. However, sometimes we have to transform that passion, that fire, that will, into energy that causes change from within. You can be nonpartisan and still shed light based on your experience without taking sides. Simply stating the facts, upholding integrity, and using your skills and creativity to negotiate and persuade. Learning to step into uncomfortable zones, like learning to wear a tie, may be challenging, but keeping the fire in the core and remaining connected to the people we love will take us far. Gracias y bienvenidos al quinto encuentro de Future Leaders of America.